With the modern era of the internet, a video game leak can just about come from anywhere. All leaks live and die by their source, though, and any information that is not official should be taken with a grain of salt. Sometimes, retailers are the sources of leaks, whether it be a broken street date or a listing going live online before it's supposed to. It doesn't mean these leaks are always accurate, as a recent Amazon leak about Hogwarts Legacy's release date has been proven false, but retailers may generally be more reliable than a Reddit user. Interestingly enough, Amazon has leaked another game, with it being Dead Island 2 this time around. Dead Island 2 was announced at E3 2014 but has since changed multiple hands, with the game being stuck in development for quite some time. Fans have been hoping more information would come soon, and given the content of this leak, it just might. Twitter user Wario64, a known source of video game news and reliable information, recently shared a new Amazon listing for Dead Island 2, despite Deep Silver having announced next to nothing about the game. According to the Amazon listing, Dead Island 2 is set to release on February 3, 2023. This doesn't seem like a placeholder date, since it's not related to a particular quarter, and it also falls on a Friday. Video games typically release on Tuesdays or Fridays, so it adds up. It seems to be sticking to its initial location too, with the game taking place in Los Angeles. It is said to feature a number of locations, including Beverly Hills and Venice Beach. Anyone who wants to check out the listing can for themselves here, although it is possible Amazon/Deep Silver has it taken down soon enough. Other details include 6 unique characters to choose from, called Slayers, that have their own personality and dialogue options, but completely customizable abilities. It says Dead Island 2 will feature a new skill system that allows for immediate respects, so players can build whatever sort of character they want. Of course, there will be plenty of zombies that look and react realistically, though the exact types of zombies in this game were not confirmed. Finally, there is a Day 1 edition that comes with a few perks for those who pre-order the game/pick it up at release. These include the Memories of Benoy pack, Benoy War Club and Baseball Bat, the Balanced Weapon perk, and the Personal Space skill card. As detailed as this listing is, one can only assume that more news on Dead Island 2 is right around the corner, with the most likely place being Gamescom opening night live. Deep Silver's Dead Island series has held an interesting space in gaming culture. First announced in 2006, the original Dead Island experienced numerous delays and wasn't released until 2011. Its cinematic trailer may have been controversial thanks to its use of a dead child, but it nonetheless had a massive impact on the community, and it helped to build high levels of anticipation for the game. Despite an impressive trailer and much excitement for its release, Dead Island came out to fairly mixed reviews, and the series has had a turbulent ride ever since, especially when it comes to Dead Island 2. Dambuster Studios and Deep Silver have an interesting opportunity to start building hype once again, thanks to a completely different series. This is basically free marketing for Dead Island 2, and it would be silly for the developer not to capitalize on it. Many think the time is right for Dead Island 2 to be re-revealed, with rumors indicating that it could happen before the end of the year. That being said, there are some things that Deep Silver and Dambuster Studios should be careful of. Thanks to the years of development hell that Dead Island 2 seems to have been languishing in, it's understandable that fans will be wary of further delays. Dead Island 2 needs a clear release date and solid plans to stick to it, or else it'll risk alienating players further with broken promises and false hope. It's clear the game has been through a rough patch, so the developer needs to be transparent about any further issues and should avoid announcing the game too early or over-promising on anything that will be difficult to deliver. The Dead Island games haven't shied away from bold marketing strategies in the past, with emotive if slightly controversial trailers and other similar aspects. The next trailer for Dead Island 2 needs to turn heads as well as show off what the game has to offer, focusing on what sets it apart from the deluge of other zombie-related titles out there. With its colorful aesthetic and mix of sunshine and slaughter, it already has a fairly unique angle, but in order to keep the attention of fans and start to generate hype again, Dead Island 2 really needs to come out swinging. Speaking of Deep Silver and its games, we definitely need to talk about their parent company Embracer Group. Man oh man, they are on a roll. Embracer Group, the official holding company of THQ Nordic and numerous other studios, has made a name for itself with a series of aggressive acquisition sprees in the gaming industry, and it seems like this trend is bound to continue for the foreseeable future. Having acquired a new batch of gaming studios and important intellectual properties, Embracer is set to continue expanding its reach in virtually every facet of gaming. What makes Embracer Group's latest round of acquisitions particularly important, however, is the fact that it's adding the Lord of the Rings IP to its portfolio. Indeed, it is now possible that THQ Nordic may work on producing new LOTR games in the future, but that's just one small part of the broader list of changes and investments the company has been making as of late. While Embracer announced its plans for more acquisitions a few months back, few could have expected them to be quite as comprehensive. Embracer Group has just announced via official press releases that it bought out Tripwire Interactive, Limited Run Games, Syncrix, Tuxedo Labs, Bitwave Games, and Giatech, which gives them access to a wealth of established game series such as Killing Floor 2. Embracer has also acquired Tatsugen, which is the company's first Japanese studio, which implies a desire to broaden the company portfolio further still, to cover as many gaming niches as seemingly possible. The list of everything owned by Embracer Group has, therefore, received yet another substantial update. The company can now draw upon a huge variety of intellectual properties in almost every niche and genre. The press release also points out that there's yet another gaming company that Embracer will acquire in the near future, though its identity hasn't yet been disclosed for commercial reasons. Embracer has also used this opportunity to announce its 11th operating group, the so-called Embracer Free Mode. This branch will focus primarily on retro and classic gaming, which could tie into the older piece of news that Embracer is working on its own game launcher, which was also supposed to lean heavily into the classic video game niche. Given the company's list of investments, it's very possible that it's not going to stop broadening its list of properties just yet and that it aims to position itself as one of the leaders in the industry. With over 150 games in development at Embracer Group, it's not impossible to see the holding company rise above its relatively humble AA roots. While THQ Nordic itself seemingly remains laser-focused on mid-tier titles with blockbuster leanings, such as Alone in the Dark, Embracer now has access to projects both smaller and substantially bigger than what it started with. If nothing else, its newfound access to the Lord of the Rings IP ought to make things interesting in the relatively near future. There is another important update came from this acquisition spree, and it's related to the remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Last month, there was a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices cried out in terror due to reports that the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake was indefinitely delayed. It's no secret that KOTOR remains one of the most popular Star Wars games to date, and fans have begged for a threequel or a remake for years. Their wishes were seemingly answered when Aspyr announced it was working on the remake at the PlayStation Showcase last year. Once the initial excitement passed, there were plenty of concerns. It has nothing to do with the trailer not really being representative of the game, but the KOTOR remake would be, by far, Aspyr's biggest project. It has never tackled something of this magnitude before, and while there should always be support for the underdogs, this really isn't the time. The release of The Force Unleashed and the initially bugged and broken port of KOTOR 2 on Switch, both from Aspyr, didn't inspire confidence, and it seems the writing was on the wall for the KOTOR remake delay. According to the initial report by Bloomberg, this internal Knights of the Old Republic remake delay came as a result of executives not being impressed by a demonstration of the game, despite Aspyr feeling good about it. This led to two major developers on the game being fired, its development being indefinitely paused, and Aspyr looking at other work, after working on this title for around 3 years. Now, while publisher Embracer Group did not name names, it recently confirmed one of its titles was being transferred to another developer. This was done to ensure the quality bar is where we need it to be for the title. We are not expecting any material delays for the title based on this transition. Bloomberg's report stated that some Aspyr developers believed Saber Interactive would take over the project, as it had been assisting, and although not outright confirmed, this is indeed likely the situation now. It's very possible that the now Saber-led development on the KOTOR remake is moving again, and that's exciting for many fans, but unfortunately, this isn't necessarily the good news fans want. Whereas Aspyr apparently intended to release the KOTOR remake in 2022, new estimates make 2025 more realistic. Saber Interactive has more experience with high-profile IPs outside Star Wars, having worked on highly reviewed titles like the Halo Combat Evolved remake, Crisis, and the Switch port of The Witcher 3, but this changing of hands and new estimate are a red flag. It seems KOTOR remake could be in the earliest stages of development hell. If Saber isn't up to the task, then it's possible Embracer will move the project again. And every changing of hands means a changing of vision and skill, means an extended development time, and means more things may be dialed back to meet publisher demands. Now, it would be great to be wrong. It would be great for Saber Interactive to take this KOTOR remake project, absolutely run away with it, have a smooth development from here on out, as smooth as development can be, anyway, and release the title to amazing reviews in 2025. But there's not much confidence in that now, and the project is one more mishap from definitively entering development hell. From September 9th through September 11th, Disney will be hosting its big D23 Expo, where fans can expect all kinds of reveals and announcements about upcoming Disney films, including Star Wars and MCU projects. D23 will be mostly focused on upcoming Disney movies, but there will also be a special gaming showcase during the event where both Disney and Marvel video games will be on display. The Disney and Marvel Games showcase at D23 will take place on Friday, September 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, hosted by Blessing Adeoye Jr. of Kinda Funny Games. Disney and Pixar Games, Marvel Games, Lucasfilm Games, and 20th Century Games will all have projects on display during the event. Previously announced games like Disney Dreamlight Valley and Marvel's Midnight Suns will also be featured at the event, as will LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which launched earlier this year. Besides these projects, those tuning in can also look forward to seeing the new Marvel Ensemble game in development at Skydance New Media. Very little is known about this Marvel game in an official capacity, but we do know that Amy Hennig is working on it. Hennig, for the uninitiated, played a key role in major games like the original Uncharted trilogy, Jak 3, The Legacy of Kain games, and more, so there's a great deal of excitement about her Marvel project. Star Wars IP has had a complicated place in gaming lately. Like any franchise with interconnected, branching media, there are some entries fans like and some they dislike. However, the Star Wars IP is unfortunately bogged down by two recent blunders in games, Star Wars Eclipse and the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. Star Wars Eclipse's predicted release window of 2027 or 2028 is due to overwhelming internal challenges, all while developer Quantic Dream also receives backlash related to founder David Cage. In other unfortunate news, the remake of Knights of the Old Republic has recently imploded with development directors having been fired and its expected release window being pushed back by a few years as well. The latter game is seemingly in more trouble than the former. Therefore, there is little reason to expect Star Wars Eclipse or Knights of the Old Republic at the showcase. In the midst of terrible news for Star Wars fans, Respawn's own efforts within the IP may be the success story that EA and Disney need. Respawn had massive success with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which led to a sequel being greenlit thereafter. That sequel, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, has now received a cinematic teaser and a release window of 2023, making it the no-brainer choice for Disney to feature at next month's showcase. Whether Star Wars Jedi Survivor is shown or not, Respawn could also offer some sort of reveal for its Star Wars FPS or its Star Wars strategy game. Moreover, Ubisoft and Lucasfilm Games' open-world Star Wars game is also on the table, making the Disney and Marvel Games showcase particularly exciting for Star Wars fans. Marvel's Midnight Suns will be making an appearance at the Disney and Marvel Games showcase, which is surprising since it recently announced its latest delay without a determined release date. That said, Marvel's Midnight Suns has had no problem sharing gameplay lately. The odds of Marvel's Midnight Suns revealing its new release date next month seem low, since it perhaps would have been better to announce it along with the delay, but since it's now expected to release sometime in early 2023, a release date may be shared at the showcase after all. Instead, the biggest question mark lingering around the showcase is its tease of Skydance's Marvel game. Only a sneak peek will apparently be given, but it has also already been confirmed that it is an ensemble game, meaning that a team of superheroes may be playable. This has led to plenty of speculation about what Marvel affiliation Skydance will tackle, whether it is the Fantastic Four, X-Men, or another beloved group. Still, Skydance's sneak peek may only be a logo teaser and not include anything substantial, and fans should be prepared to temper their expectations. Marvel's outing at the Disney and Marvel Games showcase is already looking indomitable with Skydance's appearance, but there are other incredibly exciting Marvel games that fans may also look forward to seeing at the showcase. Insomniac Games has two foundational titles in the works at Marvel, with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 expected to release in 2023 and Marvel's Wolverine expected later in the future. It is far more likely that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 makes an appearance due to its 2023 window, even if only a character reveal or short cinematic is offered. Between Star Wars gems, broad Marvel media, and other Disney content, the showcase certainly seems worth watching. But I hope that showcase doesn't end up only showing a bunch of mobile games. And the Insomniac projects are likely to be on a PlayStation showcase rather than on this one. Speaking of Marvel's Spider-Man, as players dive into the data of Marvel's Spider-Man on PC, they find a strong indication of co-op play coming to Marvel's Spider-Man 2. When Marvel's Spider-Man launched for the PS4 back in 2018, it gave fans an authentic web-slinging experience, complete with an interesting narrative and plenty of villains to fight. Both general audiences and critics gave Marvel's Spider-Man strong reviews, and the game proved to be popular enough that players were demanding a sequel from Insomniac Games following its release. Last year, Insomniac confirmed Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was on the way, and since that announcement, many have been constantly speculating on what they might see in the upcoming game. The first trailer for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 teased a lot, including the appearance of Venom. The symbiote is one of many iconic Spidey villains expected in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but some are wondering how Peter Parker will be able to stand up to so many powerful enemies. This has led many to believe that due to the existence of Miles Morales in Marvel's Spider-Man, that a co-op feature will be available in the second game. Thanks to some data miners, it seems there may be some proof of that theory. Twitter user Naiwitamp recently showed off some screenshots of the code of Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, which is the PC port of the 2018 title. In those screenshots, there is a clear reference to co-op as something in the game's code, alongside what could be a competitive feature as well, including labeling either Peter Parker or Miles Morales as the Superior Spider-Man. Looking at the Superior Spider-Man reference in the code, it could be that there is a plan for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to have a mini-game allowing two players to compete against each other. Of course, fans were more drawn to the idea of beating up Spider-Man 2's villains with a friend than competing against that ally for the title of Superior Spider-Man, and it seems that the second screenshot does point more towards co-op potentially coming to Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Some believe it could be a planned feature for Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, but it could be the case Insomniac is planning on expanding New York to have space for two playable Spider-Men. Even with these files seemingly pointing to co-op being implemented in Spider-Man 2, some fans still aren't convinced. Many pointed to the fact that Insomniac denied the feature would be in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 as firm evidence that co-op wouldn't be in the game. However, it has been the case before that game developers have told a small lie in order to have a big reveal down the road, so fans should keep their eye on Marvel's Spider-Man 2 as more information comes out. Files found within Marvel's Spider-Man on PC suggest increased PSN functionality may be coming to the platform, alongside some intriguing benefits. Back when the PS4 launched in 2013, most people would have been unable to see Sony's pivot away from developing exclusively for its own consoles coming. While it was once thought to be impossible, fast forward a single generation and things have changed dramatically for PlayStation on that front. That's because over the last few years, some of the publisher's biggest first-party games have been released not only on PS4 and PS5, but on PC as well. Now it looks like no first-party game is off the table when it comes to the port treatment. With Nix's Software now a first-party developer, the road is seemingly clear for more PlayStation games to hit the platform in the future. Files buried within the studio's aforementioned release reinforce this even further, though, and suggest Sony could be contemplating adding PSN account functionality into the picture too. As it stands right now, Sony hasn't acknowledged the Marvel Spider-Man Remastered PC file leak or the idea of PSN account functionality being brought to its games on the platform. Fans should exercise a degree of caution on the subject, then, until the publisher speaks out one way or another. The existence of the files does admittedly suggest that the idea, and several benefits, are being weighed up behind the scenes though. While these could end up being placeholders, the ability for PC players to earn extra skill points was seemingly tested with the game in question. If PSN functionality is added to Sony's PC software in the future, players might be able to earn similar bonus unlocks in most of the publisher's games. It's hard to imagine Sony wanting to split up its player bases too much though, so meatier content will likely be off the table. In a similar vein, it's unlikely that PC players will be able to earn discounts on games they already own on a PlayStation console. Beyond undermining its initiative and annoying partners like Epic Games, it's worth keeping in mind that PSN support is seemingly tied to the games themselves. There's no indication right now that Sony is weighing up creating its own PC storefront. Logging into PSN will likely only become an option once a game has been bought on Steam or the Epic Games Store. Based on the files that have been found in Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, it seems like the publisher is focusing mainly on tying PSN accounts together on console and PC. This could, however, result in cross-platform save transfers, progression sharing, and even the upcoming PlayStation Stars system all becoming features instead. One of the standout functions of the PlayStation Network, since the early PS3 era, has been the ability for players to earn virtual trophies. What started out as a scheme to match Microsoft's own achievement system has arguably grown into its own phenomenon since then. Hunting platinum trophies and increasing trophy levels have subsequently become key parts of the PlayStation experience for many console owners. In theory, if it becomes possible for PC players to log into their PSN accounts on the platform, that could open the door for trophy support to appear as well. Right now, when a PC owner buys one of Sony's first-party games, they unlock the ability to earn Steam or Epic achievements. Even though these function similarly to trophies, the system's unique RPG-like mechanics are missing from the equation. Theoretically though, logging into PSN on PC could make it possible for players to convert these over to Sony's bespoke system. Beyond unifying both parts of the PlayStation ecosystem, it's easy to imagine this functionality incentivizing trophy hunters to double-dip. Theoretically, adding PSN account support to its PC games could give Sony slightly more control over its software on the platform. Being able to directly promote and advertise its digital ecosystem because of this might have a positive knock-on impact on its revenue. Under this scenario then, it's easy to see the functionality simply helping to bring more PlayStation first-party games to PC in general. There's already evidence of this starting to happen for added measure too, beyond comments from the publisher and its PC-centric investments. Over the last few years, Sony has ratcheted up its PC porting initiative. What started out as a slow trickle, with games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone, has since turned into a steady stream. In 2022 alone, God of War 2018, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, The Last of Us Part 1, and 2 Spider-Man games have all been announced or released. All of them PC ports were flops, including the Marvel Spider-Man one. Very poor numbers on Steam, and the piracy rate is higher than ever. In my point of view, the PC porting is a waste of time, and also the PC storefront thing is only gonna move them towards day and date. After that, I'm afraid that it will be one of the key factors for the downfall of quality single-player games, alongside the live service focus. I don't like this new direction PlayStation is going, and I don't want a future of only online games with predatory pay-to-win lobbies. Astrobot studio team Asobi showcased the PlayStation 5's features and capabilities in the launch title, Astro's Playroom. The development team has its sights set on creating its biggest title yet while remaining faithful to PlayStation's roots in gaming, the Japanese market. Team Asobi's Astrobot was developed solely for play with PlayStation VR, Sony's VR headset for the PlayStation 4. Players would take control of Astro for the first time in a 3D platforming adventure game. Following the success of Astrobot, Astro became a mascot-like figure for PlayStation, and the development of Astro's Playroom began for PS5. Astro's Playroom was created to highlight features of the PS5 DualSense controller such as haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and gyro aiming. Following the closure of Sony's Japan studio in 2021, Team Asobi became its own company and began expanding under the PlayStation Studios umbrella. Team Asobi creative and studio director Nicolas Doucet reveals the studio's next game is its biggest project yet, according to an interview at gamesindustry.biz. The studio has grown from roughly 35 employees in 2021 to more than 60 in 2022, and Doucet expects Team Asobi to expand to nearly 100 employees. Production for the new game is ongoing, and Doucet wants to have another research and development group explore potential new projects within Team Asobi. R&D efforts are important for Team Asobi as the studio considers new gameplay ideas to implement. Japanese developers make up roughly 75% of Team Asobi, but the studio is expanding with talent from around the world. Doucette appreciates the uniqueness of Japanese game development and the emphasis on perfecting game controls. Team Asobi's next game remains faithful to Japanese game design, and Doucette wants the game to feel like it's made in Japan. We want to make sure that when people play our games that there is a feeling, and you can't quite put your finger on it, that it's made in Japan, Doucette said. Team Asobi wants to succeed by staying true to its values in development and delivering a worthwhile gaming experience for PlayStation. The studio's expansion should help greatly with the development of a large project made for PS5. Team Asobi's focus on refining game controls will lead to experiences that take full advantage of the PS5's DualSense controller. PlayStation should continue to invest in its roots in Japanese game development while developing new games catered to a worldwide audience. Team Asobi could create one of the most successful titles on PS5 and encourage more developers to explore new ideas. Currently, Astro's Playroom for PS5 remains Team Asobi's only game on the latest generation of hardware. But I can guarantee that their next game is PSVR 2 launch title, which will be the perfect match. They have posted a new video on their Team Asobi YouTube channel about the studio, go check it out. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.